Hey, welcome back to the Tranquilities. I'm your host, Marina Mars, and today we're diving further into our exploration of the flow state. Now, if you're tuning in on YouTube, you'll notice once again there isn't a video of me actively using my mouth hole to throw these words at you. Instead, you'll see a very intimate collection of clips of my private training sessions. Now, some of these are going to be awful, some might be a little cool, some might be a little boring, but I think it's really important to share the journey just as much as the polished end products. So you'll be seeing various clips from the past few years. You'll notice a big shift in my physical body, my body language, my rhythm, my timing, all the vulnerable things. Most importantly, you may even be able to see when I tune in and out of the flow state. This is meant to be more of a passive visualization though, so don't worry. I will be breaking down a specific 6-minute training video in a couple weeks over on my YouTube tutorial series, The Education Ecdysiast. If you are listening to this on a podcast streaming site, have no fear. You're not really missing out on any content other than just like delightful, fun things to look at. You'll still get absolutely everything you need out of this episode without the visuals. They're just meant to be something super fun. Now, before we go any deeper, please be sure to click the subscribe button if you're on YouTube, followed by the bell for notifications every time I post new content, or click follow on any podcast streaming app to ensure you get the content you need when you need it. So in episode 6, How to Focus and Enter the Flow State, I gave you a recipe for entering the flow state. We discussed ensuring our environment is inspiring, we set clear goals and intentions, we engaged our creativity, we became fully present, we put our focus into overdrive, and we resisted the urge to allow our minds to wander. So now we're diving in deeper by taking control over the velocity of the flow, as well as actively choosing the direction we want it to go in next. All we talked about before was arriving, but we didn't really discuss what to do when we got there. Now, yes, it's super fun to just dive into a flow without always structuring it as intensely as I'm about to lay out. But then that's just the definition of play. And play is awesome. Anti-structure is metal as hell. If play is your goal, then fuck this episode. However, if you're really trying to create something big, something that challenges your every skill by focusing on a singular goal, then this is the formula that you're going to want to try on for size. Here are the 7 key steps I take once I'm basically at that point when I'm edging the flow. I'm about to jump in, I'm almost there, but I haven't yet fully let go. Key number 1, if you don't know where you're going, you'll go nowhere fast. Now, you don't need to know every single detail before you start. You just need to know the destination. So do you need to create a routine for a competition? Do you need to design a website for a client? Do you need to envision a plan, for an event of a lifetime? Do you need to put together a beautiful wedding? Whatever it is, journal until you come up with a mission statement, whether your goal is casual or professional. It's just nice to be able to declare something with confidence and bravery, So take that moment for yourself and find pleasure in that boldness. Now, I like to call this the focal point of the flow. Now, if you need more advice on writing mission statements, just Google this. Pretend you're starting a small business, based solely on your tiny little goal. Just play a little bit of imagination there, and you will find that this mission statement will help you get to where you need to go. Key number 2, clarity comes from engagement and not thought. Now, this comes from my favorite business coach, Marie Forleo, and she mentions how this is where the details always begin to reveal themselves. So basically, you don't always need to know what you need until you need it. So just prepare the best you can and also know when enough is enough. The favorite example that I always like to use is that whether a doctor graduates at the top or the bottom of their class, they're still a doctor, right? You can choose the level of quality as you go along. Taking the time to reassess and adapt along the way is absolutely essential, more so than anything else at this point. This brings us to key number 3. Once you've had your aha moment within one of those moments of clarity, you're going to pause, take a deep breath, and repeat what you did to get to that moment over and over again. This is the step where you establish your home base, or you set up camp, so to speak. You've arrived at the first major pit stop to your focal point. Congratulations! Now we've got more work to do. Since the flow state is not a linear process, you'll find yourself coming back here often, so take the time to really get to know it before you continue forward. Key number 4, dive deeper into the aha. As you're repeating the thought or pattern you had in that aha moment, you're going to start to add very small changes one at a time. The most productive change and advancement comes from taking many small steps rather than a few giant ones. Look, you're lucky to get one aha moment a day or a week, right? Depending on your schedule. So think of advancement as one extraordinarily refined string of aha mutations instead of a series of raw aha moments. Think of the aha moment as think of the aha moment of your flow as the trunk of a tree. Everywhere you go from here will resemble the branches. Now, what the fuck do I mean by that? This brings us into point number 5. Did you get distracted in your flow? That's okay. Just go back and repeat step 3 over and over again until you feel the flow re-enter your energetic system. Now remember, step 3 was when we first had that aha moment of clarity, right? We went back and we repeated it over and over again to establish that baseline. So you just want to go back to that baseline. Think of this step as congratulations, you've completed a branch, go back and make a new one, rather than like oh shit, I lost my focus, because that's totally fine. That's totally a normal part of the process. This is expected because literally what tree on earth only has one branch and decides, you know what, that's all I need? Like, I've never been a tree, but I'm pretty sure that's not how that works. Key number 6. Are you growing tired? Do you think you're kind of coming towards the end of your session? Maybe you've accomplished your goal, or maybe you just want a break. That's okay. Just push one more time. This is the space right outside of your comfort zone where you grow. You push your own boundaries, you grow bigger, you grow better, and you expand the rings of your tree and become a more robust trunk. If you were to give up right when you're tired or right when you've had enough, you're just going to be maintaining. But taking it that one step further is how you gain. This way, the next time that you flow, your foundation will already be bigger and better than it was when you started. The thing about flow is that it will build up upon itself over time. Just because you've clocked out for the day, that doesn't mean that you have to have a fresh start tomorrow. You've already done the work, so it will be with you for the rest of your life. This is why it's worth it. Invest in yourself. Get ready to build a goddamn empire, goddess. Damn. This leads us into our last and final key. Key number 7. Ensure you give yourself space after your flow sesh to digest what the fuck just happened during your series of flows. So if you're a dancer, that may mean that you edit together a highlight reel of your training videos, and maybe you delete the excess that won't serve you in the future. If you're a writer, maybe that means you're printing off your final draft of the day and leaving yourself notes on where your mindset was at the time of the print, so it's easier to retrace your steps when you get back to it. Whatever it is that you're doing, don't rush into the next thing. A simple 5 to 10 minute meditation is really all I'm suggesting here, in whatever form feels most appropriate to you. This allows the brain to essentially put a protective coat over the new information before it brings it back into the warehouse of the memory. It will withstand the test of time longer. It will encode into your muscle memory, if applicable, and it allows you to honor yourself by sticking to a ritual doused in self-love and self-awareness. These are the special moments you'll learn to really cherish. Yay, we did it! Those are the 7 keys. So let's say that your focal point or your main goal requires a series of aha moments instead of just one, right? So let's say you need a forest instead of just one tree. Well, sweet. Just apply this formula in a fractal pattern and it'll totally work regardless of the scale of the project. So if you've got a 12 component project, you'll know to schedule at least 12 of those intense flows. Maybe more, maybe less, but at least we know ahead of time how to segregate the process into bite-sized and manageable pieces so that we don't overwhelm ourselves assuming that we're going to get it all done in one go. Let's say you're watching this and maybe you're thinking, hell yeah, I want to dive into the flow state and make a beautiful piece of art or solve an interesting puzzle, but maybe you don't know what it is that you want to focus on or create exactly quite yet. Maybe you're having a hard time finding a focal point. Well, my loves, that is exactly what we're diving into next week. So next week, I'll be discussing how I found my path and my purpose with my art. The moment I got clear on my focal point was the moment my career really started to take off. This process is accessible to absolutely everyone too. I am not special in this way. I'll go into detail about why love, beauty, and pleasure became my key muses to my brand, and I'll help you find yours too. So please tell me about your experience with focal points and flow. Where is it that you struggle? Where is it that you excel? Please head down to the YouTube comment section and tell us about it. And please don't be shy, because of course I am always here for you and I will always make episodes that are very relevant to you. All you have to do is ask. On a final note, if you haven't already signed up for my newsletter, the Martian Gazette, I highly recommend it because it is a free weekly dose of love, beauty, and pleasure. For more information on this, check out the description if you're on YouTube and head over to marinamars.com if you're tuning in from another streaming site. That's it for today, guys. Making this episode simple, short, straight to the point. Next week, we're going to get real ooey gooey. It's probably going to be a 20-minute episode. It's gonna be good. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Until next time, my loves. XOXO.